Welcome to Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Forest City, Iowa is home to Waldorf College. We learn about their efforts to provide a worldview education in this delightful small town. We meet Kendra Windish, a transplant from Los Angeles who loves to dance. And if adventure on the water is on your list of things to do, you will enjoy our conversation with Russ Garfin, Jeff Hovinga, and Ken Biritz about the Winnebago River Trail. We'll have all this and more. Stay tuned for Cities on the Move. Kendra Windish loves to dance. In fact, she feels out of sorts if she hasn't had a chance to get up and move in an expressive way. Let's meet her now.
My name is Kendra Windish, and I am from Los Angeles, California. And I moved to New York and met my husband and moved back to Los Angeles for a couple years, and now we live in Forest City, Iowa. Everyone's been really welcoming and very open and sweet, and it's been a bit of an adjustment though, because I've lived in large cities and then coming to a small community. Culturally, it's very different. I think I've always been interested in dance, but I didn't start taking classes until I was about in 5th grade, and that was really between 5th and 12th grade. I maybe took 4 or 5 classes. I was a gymnast and soccer player, and that was my focus. But I always danced in my parents' backyard. Being in Los Angeles and the weather is very mild all the time, I was outside a lot, and I used to always make up dances and dance by myself. And then my freshman year of college, I took one ballet class. My sophomore year, I took a modern dance class, and I fell in love. It just felt right. I graduated from University of Oregon, and I moved back to Los Angeles, so that was with my undergrad, and I danced with a local company there and produced some of my own work. And then I had a friend who was in New York, and she said, "Hey, you want to move to New York?" And I thought, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So I moved to New York, and I danced with companies there in New York, and while I was in New York, I received my master's in dance education from NYU. My husband got the band director job at Waldorf College, and so we made the trek across the country, to the middle of the country. I did start a program at the YMCA. When I moved here, I called the Y and I said, "Hey, I'm new in town and I would like to teach dance. What do you think?" So we started a few classes last year, and this year we've really expanded the program, and they gave me my own space, which is beautiful. And I'm teaching modern dance and ballet in the curriculum, and creative movement and parent and child classes. And I've always loved to create, whether, like I was a kid, I would always make up dances or make clothes for my dolls or make sculptures. So I always loved the making part. And modern dance, the way I was taught, felt very much like you were allowed to explore that creation aspect of it. There's so many things about dance, in particular modern dance, that I connect with. I love the athleticism. Since I was an athlete before soccer and gymnast, it's athletic form of dance, so I really attach myself to that. And that it's a way to express yourself other than words. It's just something that I feel deeply connected to, and it feeds me. It's something that I can't stop doing. I can't walk away from it. It's really a way for me to sort of release and be happy.
Well, today we have some special guests in the studio who are going to talk about the Winnebago River Trail as well as the Stream Keepers organization. I'd like to introduce our special guests. We have Russ Garfin, we have Jeff Hovinga, and we have Ken Biritz. Thanks, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you, Steph.
All right. Russ, let's start with you. Tell us, what is the Winnebago River Trail?
Well, it's a great trail that was recognized by the state and put together by our county and our county conservation officer, and basically starts up near the Minnesota border and runs for 27 miles from Dolly Park all the way down to Forest City, Iowa. And there's plenty of put in and take out places and signage, and it's a great way to enjoy northern Iowa and southern Minnesota landscape.
All right. And I understand, Jeff, that you take this trail quite often.
I do enjoy canoeing it quite a bit, and it's nice to have an official water trail now, and it's nice to have the stream keepers actually clean it up quite a bit, and it's a lot more user-friendly.
So when you have a river trail, how does this improve life in our area? What are you going to do with it? I mean, does it mean that it's clear, or kind of tell me what people will see when they go down the river?
Well, it's first of all, it means that they're going to have clear signage, so it's easy for people who haven't been on the river before to get in and get out and know how far they have to go and how long it's going to take. There's easy places to put in with your canoe and easy places to get out, which otherwise it'd be kind of difficult to get down to the riverbank and get out, so that improves that quite a bit.
Okay. Does that necessarily mean it's like a cement landing or just a clearing in the grass? Or?
It could be gravel. There is one place that they have some railroad ties put in. But it's, I think all of the access points or portage points that we have there are all easy to get in and out from.
All right. What kind of boats are suitable for going down the Winnebago River?
Canoes work the best. We've seen a few rafts go down, a few inner tubes, but it seems to be best suited for canoeing.
And why is that?
Canoeing, with canoes, you're more flexible. You can paddle around an occasional log that's in the way or something. You can go around corners easier and steer a lot better with canoes. Rafts, you're kind of at the mercy of the current. So I think canoes are a lot better for that trail.
Okay. What kind of water depth are we looking at? And I'm assuming that changes throughout the year.
Yeah, it changes quite a bit on the Winnebago River. Sometimes later in the summer it can be, knee deep in a lot of places, and in some places you may be even dragging bottom in the dry spots in the summertime. But other times, it can be 8-10 feet around a log jam or corner in the river. Yeah.
Log jam sounds a little
scary.
Yeah, a little scary.
Well, the river runs through a lot through farmland and a lot of black soil, so it can change course. Depending on the weather, it'll erode a little bit and change course. The next year will be a little bit different, and that causes tree limbs or trees to fall into the river. And that's one of the things that we do with the stream keepers is try to make sure that there's a clear path for canoes to get through and take away any kind of dangerous obstacles. So really, it's not. I wouldn't classify it as dangerous at all. It's probably one of the safer rivers as far as family friendly. It's not very. That's just more of an inconvenience, I think, if you have to try to portage around some of those log jams, so we try to clear it out.
Okay. How often do stream keepers go down the river, or is it a matter of simply stopping at the portage points and looking left and right, or how does that maintenance occur?
Well, I think the way it gets set up is depending on our high water. We know that some of the banks that we have aren't riffraffed and things like that, so we do have a lot of trees that are next to it, and occasionally you have one of them fall down. That does block pretty much the mainstream. So Russ will get the group together and we'll all meet up at the park and take off and drive upstream and come back down again.
When you say drive upstream, you mean you're driving on land next to the river?
Well, on the roads to get to an actual put-in point.
Okay.
And then we'll take off from there and go back down. It's easier to go down.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, is we're paddling upstream.
Yeah. Sometimes we do that, though. We'll just start upstream, like if the river's slow, just start at Forest City and work our way up and then come back down when we're done. And I think that's what you do all the time, Jeff, as far as
I always put in one place, go upstream, come back.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk a little bit more about safety features. You mentioned this is very family friendly. What are some kind of points that folks should consider when they're putting in and safety procedures for taking a canoe down the river? What kind of preparations should they make in advance?
Well, of course, Iowa law, we you always have to have a life jacket, at least in the boat. Of course, we recommend wearing a life jacket. And if you're not familiar with canoeing, you have to get used to the balance of the canoe. You always try and put all your weight in the center of the canoe. When you step into it, don't step on one side or the other. Always step into the center to get in your canoe. Paddling, that pretty much comes with practice. You paddle on one side, you usually start veering off to the other side, so you get used to paddling. Look out for objects in the water, such as a log or a rock. And because canoes are a lot easier to tip than, say, a speedboat. But,
sure. And what happens when you tip over? Have you ever tipped over?
In a canoe? No.
No. Okay. Right, who has, and what did you do?
Oh. I think if you canoe enough, you're going to tip over sooner or later. But yeah, I've tipped over. Yeah, I've been canoeing since I was a small boy on the Winnebago River. So yeah, I've had quite a few experiences of the tipping over. It's really not a big deal. I mean, most of the places you're going to find a place where you can stand up, and if you can't stand up right where you are, you float a little bit, and you will be able to stand up. And just basically, I think Ken is pretty good on the safety things, but you want to stay with the canoe until you get to a safe place where you can stand up, and then try to get the water out of the canoe, which is a little bit tricky, but it's easy enough done. But maybe Ken, you want to talk a little bit about safety again? I don't know.
Well, Jeff covered it as far as state law. Make sure that your canoes do have license on them, current, and if there's 3 people in the canoe, make sure there's 3 life jackets there, and always have a rope that's easy to be to tie off the canoe in case you're going to stop. I've seen it where some people have just beached the canoe and the wind got up and just pushed it off, and there it goes down the river. And then they're chasing that. So tying it off one like that, making sure that you take plenty of water with you. That was a lot of people that think that they can put in at one point and be down in Forest City in half hour or something like that. They don't realize that the river makes all these twists and turns. So make sure you have plenty of water and maybe a cell phone. And it's always fun to go with more people than it is just by yourself, to go out in that. But,
yeah, I guess I'd like to just go back to that a little bit. The main thing is to don't panic. I mean, if you tip over, it's an inconvenience and it's a little bit of shock to the system that you get wet. But if you're prepared, if you bring along, keep your camera and your cell phone or whatever in a Ziploc bag and your billfold and those kind of things. And a lot of people will bring an extra jacket and things like that and keep that in a dry bag. Really, it's a little bit of a embarrassment and an inconvenience, but it's not nothing to panic about if you do tip over. So if you're prepared for it, it's part of the adventure.
All right. You talked about needing to license the vehicle or the boat that you take down the river. Where do you do that? How do you get a license for your canoe?
Most generally at the courthouse.
Okay.
You can go and register it there, and they'll give you a license that I'll put on it and a number.
Okay. Do you need any kind of special permit to use the trail at all then? I mean, if your boat is licensed in another state, you're fine?
They're good, yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And you talked about going down the river and if you're going to stop and maybe have a picnic lunch, which sounds really nice. Can you do that anywhere along the river? I'm assuming you're flowing past a lot of private property.
Yes.
Are you able to get out on shore and have a picnic lunch?
Well, officially, if you would have to ask permission on private land. There are some public land along the river, and that's pretty well marked. Of course, in the fall, some of it's public hunting, but most of the time in the summertime, it's unused land. You can stop by and could even set up a tent if you wanted to and have a picnic. Sure.
Yeah, and there are islands too in the river that you can stop at. Yeah. That make a nice place to stop for a picnic or something. Sure.
Sounds good. And how long, if you put in at Dolly Park up north of Lake Mills and you wanted to go the whole route, how long would it take to get to Forest City?
I did that this year. It's kind of nice to be able to do that after the stream keepers have gone through and helped clean it up. But I did it in a little bit over 4.5 hours in a fairly fast canoe. So on a recreational canoe, you might want to give yourself a lot more time. But
so it's kind of a full day's
activity. It's a long distance. And along the way, you see a lot of things. See other put-ins that you could put in at different places if you didn't want to do the entire 27 miles. And there are other bridges you can even put in if you wanted to.
Okay.
Yeah, a popular float is from Ambrosen Park in Leland down to Forest City, and then depending on the river flow, I mean, if the river's up pretty good, that can only take you about 2 hours or 2.5 to get to Forest City. If the river's down and it's flowing a little bit slower, then you should plan on 4 hours to get from there to Forest City, and that's a really nice, I think, a good distance for a family to try it out. Yeah.
All right. Is there any place, I mean, there are so many variables to this. Is there any place that people can either call, or do you have a website or some place that people can go to find out how the river's running, when the last time was that stream keepers have been through, so that they kind of increase their comfort level before they head out?
Well, you could call it county conservation in Winnebago County and Robert Schwartz, and that number would be in the book. I don't have it here, but they'd fill you in easily. And then I think also you can go online, and I don't remember the exact links for that, but there's some places that maintain all the river flows in the state with the DNR, connected with the DNR. So I'm sure if you just got on Google and searched for it, you'd find what the river flow is.
Okay, sounds good. Now you guys had a pretty big celebration when you opened the river trail. Tell us about that.
Well, we could all talk about that. It was a great turnout. We did a couple cleanups, or at least one cleanup just before this, and we wanted to celebrate this new water trail, and it was the official dedication too. And it was a rainy day, rainy forecast, and I don't know, I was hoping there would be 30 canoes or so, and it was well advertised. And we ended up having over 70 canoes show up for this community event for the first time, and I was very happy. A lot of people had a lot of fun. Russ, you were there.
Yeah, it was just a blast. I was also worried that we wouldn't have a very good turnout, and then to see all those boats and everybody, it was like a big parade of boats going down the river, and so many kids that have never been on the Winnebago River before, and with their families canoeing, and so it was a great community event. And I had to comment a bit about your tipping over story. We had 70 boats in the river, and there are a lot of them with kids in, and the kids, maybe junior high kids and so on, and they get kind of rambunctious in the canoes. And I'm thinking to myself, boy, there's going to be some of those kids, tip over along the way. And none of the kids tipped over the whole day, and we had 2 canoes with some kind of well-known city figures that did tip over. I won't mention their names, but they did. They did tip over, and the kids did great. So
good.
Yeah.
Good. Sounds good. How is and there is a significant difference, but talk a little bit about how it's different canoeing on a river than it is on the lake, because many people canoe on the lake, but rivers are a little bit different.
Well, in the rivers you have, of course, you have all the bends and turns and sandbars. You have a little more obstacles in the way, log jams. There is some logs out there that does not move. We can't get them out, that they are, and you can tell that by the riffles that they make. There is a few rock places in there that has rocks, but it's just the overall part of the stream is a little different, because you do go from different depths into shallower waters, and I think most of your deep depths are up around your bends and things like that, and around the log jams. But the rivers, are not the river, but the lakes is, is just kind of clear sailing, because once you get out in deeper water, you're fairly set.
One thing we have in this area in north central Iowa, we have a lot of wind. You'll see a lot of wind turbines around the river where you canoe. And the big difference between lakes and rivers is you're a lot more isolated from the wind in the river, which is very nice in a canoe, because sometimes that wind can whip your canoe right around on a lake. But in a river, you're much more protected. It's a fairly small river too, so you have a lot of trees close to you.
Yeah, I guess I'd say the river canoeing is just a ton easier than lake canoeing. I mean, you don't have to work if you don't want to, because the river's going to take you, basically you're just steering the canoe. And so it's pretty leisurely, and you've got the scenery that goes by constantly, which is changing all the time. And a little bit, of activity that keeps you occupied, but you can just have nice conversations, and, just it's a great family experience, and a lot of fun to leisurely float the river versus a lake, which can be nice, but also can be some work if you get out there and have to deal with waves and wind. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you guys have done a great job at making a wonderful recreation opportunity, not only for folks in the Lake Mills and Forest City area, but also for visitors to the area too, which I'm sure is an asset to the community. Hey, thank you so much for coming in to tell us about it.
Yes. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Stay tuned for more Cities on the Move. Waldorf College is a small college in a small town with a world view. Let's find out more.
A bright fall day, a crisp, clear pond, leaves falling in the wind, and the bustling of students. Campus life resumes at many regional colleges and universities in our area. In Forest City, Iowa, students at Waldorf College are learning about the world and their role in it. This tradition has been taking place since 1903, when a local Lutheran pastor decided to make lemonades out of lemons. Vice President of Academic Affairs, Bob Alsop, explains.
Waldorf College has a very unique history. The building that we're in right now was originally a hotel. that was built in 1899 as a part of the hotel wars that was going on in Forest City, where two four-star hotels were built. Unfortunately, neither one of them lasted too long in business as a hotel. The Reverend from Emmanuel Lutheran Church, whose church was just located kind of kitty corner to us, was walking back and forth every day in front of this abandoned four-star hotel. And he thought, what a great place for a Lutheran academy. The mission of the college is to educate the whole person. We do so by having a strong liberal arts program where our students not only gain expertise in an area, their major, but we want our students to be well-rounded so that they can be critical thinkers and effective communicators and leaders in their community. And really, you can only do that if you have an understanding of how the world works from a variety of different perspectives. So even if I'm an English major, I can be a better world citizen if I can understand how a scientist thinks.
This global perspective extends to hands-on experiences as well.
One of the things that Waldorf College offers from the small school in the small community is a worldview. Not only do we recruit students from around the world, but we send our students out to see the world. Whether that's being a member of the Honors College and going on a trip to visit Greece and Turkey to enhance the learning experiences of reading Plato and Homer, or it's the Waldorf Choir visiting Norway and Sweden. We try to provide many opportunities for our students to travel and study abroad. That brings a richness to the experience, the academic experience and the personal experience, and something that stays with a student for their whole life.
Waldorf's emphasis on enrichment and the whole person includes a key focus on service to others.
A big aspect of Waldorf College, and really what's grounded in our Lutheran understanding of education, is that our education is about partially to serve the world. So we have service projects going on all the time. This weekend, Waldorf College students will be canvassing the town with rakes in hand as a community service project.
In addition to the development of the person, students also have access to technology-enhanced learning for a variety of majors.
Our online courses, like our residential courses, are innovative in their use of technology, whether that's through voiced-over PowerPoint presentations, streaming video of a lecture, interactive exercises with a website, use of discussion boards and email. We want to make sure that our students, whether they're on campus or online, have that engaged experience.
Waldorf College enrollment stands at 643, but there is room for more.
Waldorf College is a growing campus. Right now we have an enrollment of about 643 students. We feel we can accommodate 850 to 1,000 students. So we are hiring faculty and staff in order to accommodate that number of students.
A full complement of majors, including English, communication, biology, music, and education, are enhanced by extracurricular opportunities in the arts and athletics. Waldorf College, keeping students on the move.
And now for the calendar of events. On November 9th, check out Journey Stories, Moving On in Song, a performance with Charlie McGuire and the Goodview Elementary 4th graders. This will be at 7 p.m. at the Winona County History Center. Some of the greatest songs are Journey Stories set to music. The traditional songs 500 Miles, Wayfaring Stranger, Lonesome Valley, and the songs of Woody Guthrie and many more will be performed by folk singer Charlie McGuire After a day with the 4th graders at Goodville Elementary School, he's teaching them how to play the jaw harp and some of his favorite songs. Charlie and the 4th graders will perform for the public. The museum will be open up until the performance, so stop in and take a journey through the fun Journey Stories exhibit before the show. For more information, visit winonahistory.org. And if you love chili, attend the Mankato Chili Fest on November 20th. The purpose of Mankato's Chili Fest is to support 2 great organizations, the Minnesota Rett Syndrome Research Association and the Mankato Veterans Memorial Place. Join them for a day full of food and fun for the whole family. 20 teams of public safety, police officers, firefighters, EMS personnel, and community and business groups will be facing off against each other in a chili cook-off. Music will be provided by Fish Fry. A silent auction and raffle will be held, as well as a bake sale and craft sale. Tickets are $5 in advance, $7 at the door for all you can eat. For more information, visit mankatochilifest.com. November 18th is the date for the Mason City Home for the Holidays in downtown Mason City. Get into the holiday spirit with an assortment of festive activities. Visit Santa and Mrs. Claus, enjoy a sleigh ride, decorate holiday cookies, and much, much more. Hours are 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and admission is free. For more information, visit mainstreetmasoncity.com. If you have an event to share with our viewers, log on to ksmq.org and post it today. Next week on Cities on the Move, we check out New Richland, Minnesota. We meet Christian Stewart, who was recently named to the National FFA Band, and we check out a great vacation spot for cats. Please join us Tuesday, November 2nd at 6:30 p.m. on KSMQ for another edition of Cities on the Move. I'm your host, Stephanie Passingham. Good night.
Production of this program is made possible in part through a grant from the Blandin Foundation.